Hey pretty sweet gang, Mo here, and as requested, today we are gonna color some sugar and make colored sanding sugar. I'm even gonna show you how to flavor it. So here I am using turbinado cane sugar. You can use the fine regular white granulated sugar if you want a fine sanding sugar, but I love to use the chunky sugar. You're gonna need your food coloring of choice. I use gel color, and you are going to need a cookie sheet lined with parchment or a silicone mat. Like I said, I prefer the turbinado sugar because it is chunkier and it has a better effect instead of using the fine granulated sugar. So I'm going to basically dump maybe about a half a cup. You can do as much sugar as you like. I don't have any like measurements or anything for how much coloring or anything. You just kind of have to play with it as you go until you get the color that you desire. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to this little small 1 quart Ziploc bag. I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting it out of the box. I usually never buy it like this. It also comes in the bag, but this is the only option that they had in the grocery store when I went. So I'm just going to break up any chunks because sometimes the sugar will kind of chunk up together with, each other, and I'm just like pressing out any chunks that I may have. And then I'm just gonna go right ahead with my gel color. You do want to use a gel color, not a water-based color, because moisture and sugar creates the sugar to melt. So you want to just start off with like 1 or 2 drops of food coloring, close up your Ziploc bag, and try to get as much air out as possible so that you'll be able to blend that up. And you just want to begin to start folding the sugar into the gel color, and you just want to basically have patience, take your time, and massage this in. Now turbinado sugar is basically a natural cane sugar, so it is brown, and it will color still. It's no different than coloring caramel. You can definitely do that, and caramel is made with brown sugar. You can color brown sugar, so it may take a little more gel color than doing a white sugar, but I am fine with this because, like I said, I like a chunkier sugar, and I actually like the taste of the turbinado sugar anyway. So yeah, you just want to go ahead and massage that in until all of the gel color has adhered to your sugar. And as you see me just kind of massaging the bag and rubbing it in between my hands, you want to make sure you get the sugar out of the cracks, the corners of the Ziploc bag, so everything is evenly coated with the gel color. Now, if you haven't acquired the color that you want, as I have in here, I'm going to add a little bit more of that gel color. Like I always tell you guys, you always want to start with a little bit at a time because you can't take away, but you can always add more. So I'm getting that air out of the bag again, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue to massage the gel color into my sugar. Now, because the sugar is brown, depending on your gel color, you may not like. The color I use is a neon purple from Hobby Lobby, but because the sugar is brown, it turned into more of like a purplish plum color, and I'm okay with that. So just make sure that you are aware, because of the sugar is already brown, that you may not get the exact color of your gel color. So be aware of that. Yeah, I'm okay with that for the video. I'm just kind of showing you. You may actually just have to add more color to maybe get that consistency of purple that you would desire. But again, you are going to have to use gel color. You don't want to use a water-based color because you don't want it to kind of like melt your sugar. Oh, also make sure you have your oven preheated. I can't talk today, sorry guys. Preheated to 200 degrees because we are going to bake this in the oven for about 5 to 6 minutes. You're not going to want to bake it any longer than that. Again, it's sugar. It will cook. It will melt. So make sure your oven is on 200 degrees. So here I am. I feel like I'm pretty happy with this color. It looks deep, nice and saturated. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. Here I'm adding a couple of drops of flavoring. This is a birthday cake flavoring that I'm adding. You can add any flavor of choice, and you don't want to add too much. Again, it's liquid. You don't want it to begin to break down your sugar. So we're just gonna go right ahead and massage that in just like we did with the gel color, and make sure that we get all of the sugar granules. Oh my God, it's early, guys. Get those saturated with the flavoring. And there we go. I feel like that's pretty good. So now you want to take your baking sheet, whether it's lined with parchment or the silicone mat, and we're just going to open our Ziploc bag and dump that right onto our cookie sheet. And you want to get a fork or a spoon or something and just kind of like spread that out. You don't want to put it in the oven just in a pile of sugar. And you also don't want to spread it out too thin, because you don't want the heat to melt your sugar. So we're going to try to spread this out in a nice even layer. And again, we're going to bake that in the oven at 200 degrees for 5, no longer than 6 minutes, guys. You can already kind of see that sparkle there, but the oven is just going to like set that flavoring and set that color, and it's going to give it even more of like a shimmer, because the sugar is going to heat, so it's going to kind of melt but not fully. And then once you pull it out and you allow it to cool, as it cools off, it just glistens a little more. So here I'm just spreading that out in a nice even layer, but like I said, not too thin, because I don't want anything to burn or melt. Place that in the oven, and we are back. I have let it set out to cool for about 15 minutes. It's completely cool, and some of the sugar kind of stuck together, as you can see here. So I'm just gently taking my rubber spatula and just moving that around and like breaking it apart. And once you've done that, once you set aside and you don't have a lot of big chunks, you just want to go ahead and dump that in a new clean Ziploc bag. Did not use the same Ziploc bag that you colored it in, because that bag is wet. I went ahead and threw that away. It still has gel color attached to the bag on the inside, and now our color is already dry and set, so we don't want to put that back into that bag with that wet color. So here we go. We're going to transfer that into a clean Ziploc bag. Try not to lose your sugar. And just to add a little extra punch to it, I'm going to take, I have Wilton's, it's like a glitter spray, but it's not really glitter. It's really, to me, kind of like a luster dust with a little sparkle in it. And even though my sugar is not this kind of purple, you don't really get the color of the glitter spray. Is just for the sparkle, and because I did use a purple food coloring, even though this turned out more of like a plum purple color, it's going to be okay. But if you have a gold shimmer or a silver shimmer, you can definitely use that. I'm actually going to show you guys another color, because this sanding sugar that I'm making now is still translucent, even though it's colored, and the camera may not be picking that up, but it's still translucent like any other normal sanding sugar. I'm going to show you another technique after we're done with this color to show you how you can make it not be transparent. And I'm sorry, like I said this earlier, I can't think of the correct word right now, but you guys will see what I mean in a minute. So I'm basically just spraying the glitter spray in the bag and just shaking that up so that I can get some of that sparkle over all of my sanding sugar. And I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but it's really pretty, guys, in the light. You can use this to coat your strawberries, your apples, whatever, just like any other sanded sugar that you buy in the store. And this right here, if you feel like making your own sanded sugar, like, I love this because you can create any colors that you want. If you're good with mixing colors and making new color palettes, like, this is going to be amazing for you, and you don't have to waste money going and looking for sanded sugar. Look at that. Really pretty. So this could even pass for like maybe a burgundy. So a lot of people have a hard time making that color, and here you go. Okay, so here is our second option. We're going to use our same turbinado sugar, but this time we're going to add some white gel color to our sugar. Just like when you're making candy apples, when you don't want them to be transparent, you add white, because it makes that color more solid. Again, I can't think of the word, but you guys get it. So we're going to add some pink to this. And this is Hobby Lobby's neon pink as well. It's not really going to come out a neon color. It's going to be, to me, more of like a watermelon pinkish reddish color or whatever. Or maybe a darker coral. So you just want to use the same technique and massage that all in and get all of your sugar saturated with your color. The color is going to start like sticking to the bag, but that's the whole point for just like trying to get as much air out of the bag as you can, and just using that and just massaging the bag to get the color off of your Ziploc bag and onto the sugar. And just roll that in between your hands. Make sure you get those corners so all of your sugar gets coated. I actually really love doing this. It's super fun to make new colors, to see what you come up with. If you're a little insecure about mixing your color in the bag, just like I teach in my candy apple class, you can definitely take a small bowl, or if you have like just a flat surface or a palette board or something like that, that you mix paint colors on, and you can like pre-mix your color to see what it's going to look like before you add it in the bag with your sugar. That's another good way, so that you don't end up mixing colors and blending it with your sugar and it doesn't come out the color that you like or that you need. So just a little quick tip there. Hopefully that helps. And we're just going to continue to massage this in. And this time for the sparkle, I am going to use Fancy Sprinkles. If you guys are familiar with their product line, I'm going to use their Prism powder, which is actually the best edible glitter powder to me, in my opinion, out there, or that I've used anyway. So I can only really speak on that. I'm going to add a couple more drops of my pink in there. It's not picking up on the camera, but I can still kind of see some of the sugar granules are not fully coated, so I need a little more pink. And once we get this out of the oven, I'll show you guys the container of the Prism powder that I use. Again, it's by Fancy Sprinkles, so if you go to their website, they're also on Amazon. You can type in Fancy Sprinkles, and their glitter, their Prism powder, their luster dust, and all of that should come up. Okay, I feel like we are at a good color, and everything seems to be nice and coated. Just making sure. And we are basically going to do the same thing, guys. We are going to get this on a cookie sheet, lined with the silicone mat, pop it in the oven at 200 degrees for 5 to 6 minutes. And you'll really see more of the difference, and you'll get your outcome after you pull it out of the oven, because like I say, what the heat does, it kind of just sets in that color, it brightens that color, and it dries the sugar. because like once you get it out of the bag, you see you are going to lose some to the bag because it's wet and it's pretty sticky right now. So again, you want to just spread out a nice even layer, not too thick, not too thin. You don't want anything to burn or melt. And we'll pop that in the oven. And we are back and it is cooled. And again, I'm just kind of breaking down any sugar that may have stuck together in the cooking process, as you see here. And it still looks like a little stuck together because it has not completely cooled. My pan is still warm. So what you can do is really remove your parchment or your silicone mat from your pan to help the cooling process go faster. But once it completely cools, they'll completely like really separate from each other. I didn't flavor this one, but guys, it's up to you. Like I said, you can use any flavoring. Just be careful to not add too much so that it does not melt your sugar. We're going to go ahead and add that to a fresh Ziploc bag. And here I am going to add the Prism powder by Fancy Sprinkles. And again, it's a different kind of pink, but my base color is pink. This is a much lighter pink, but that doesn't even show. I'm just using this because of the silver sparkle that's in it. Like as you can see there, really that's just all you see is the silver. You see it flying away out of the bag. It's so pretty. It's like little fairies flying all over the place. Squeeze out some of that excess air and shake that up. And you don't have to do this step. This is just optional if you just want a little extra something to your sand and sugar. And this actually looks really pretty on berries. Really pretty. So if someone doesn't really want the glitter on their berries, this is an option. You can make your own sand and sugar and add the Prism powder and just mix it in, and they'll still get that glitter effect. It may not be as shiny, and no, the sugar isn't as fine, so it's not the same, but they can still have some sparkle to their desserts without just eating glitter. Some people don't like that. I'm just going to pour it in the bowl to show you guys, and this is it. We are done basically. But yeah, this is our coral. I guess I'll call it coral because that's kind of how it turned. Sand and sugar. It looks the color is a lot brighter in person. I don't know if it's the lights or whatever, but look at that sparkle. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you for even requesting this tutorial, and I will definitely see you in the next one.